you. You wanna be past another hand. Maybe this time you stand, but no, you're on your own in the dark, yeah. So now where do you go now that you're so far from home? Next thing you're throwing off the wall for one hot shot, your life it costs. Up in things of the world, running circles like a party world, spiraling out of control, never letting go, being tossed and thrown. Looking at yourself, you ask how'd I get here? But looking back, you know you do it over again. You said you never let your happiness me regret. Now you just wanna be past another hand, and maybe this time you'll stand, but no, you're on your own and in the dark, yeah. So now where do you go? Nothing better than being home. You gambled and lost your life with these loaded dice down. Yeah, you gambled and lost your life with these loaded dice down. Cause you got it down, slow down. You got it down, slow down. Cause you got it down, slow down. Quit you fooling around. Just you got it down, slow down. Yeah, you got it down, slow down. Cause you got it down, slow down. Yourself in back of the line, as you feel running out of time, and you know your world is crashing down. You're giving up, nowhere to run to. Yeah, you're going backwards fast, always missing what you had. Gotta get a strength to turn around. Tell yourself it's just a card you dealt. Turn around and put these loaded dice down.
Link up with Chris and Sabrina at 637-0094 on Breeze 93.9 FM.
Para
listening to The Link with Chris and Sabrina on Breeze 93.9 KUAM FM Hagåtña, Guam. Chris and Sabrina with The Link. Here on Breeze 93.9 FM.
Fan mo tu man hengi fatai minagu fan mo tu gizabilen atani patgun rai yang hetsia tangingita adora tangingita adora tangingita adora si Jesus ileya iangel nui pastor sia estagi Cristo gizabilen
Chris and Sabrina with The Link here on Breeze 93.9 FM.
Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day walk on water? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would save our sons and daughters? Did you know that your baby boy has come to make you new? This child that you deliver will soon deliver you.
Mary, did you know
That your baby boy will give sight to a blind man.
Mary, did you know
That your baby boy will calm the storm with his hand.
Did you know that your baby boy has walked where angels trod? When you kiss your little baby, you kiss the face of God. Mary, did you know? The blind will see, the deaf will hear, the dead will live again. The lame will lead, the dumb will speak, the praises of the Lamb. Mary, did you know
That your baby boy is Lord of all creation.
Mary, did you know
That your baby boy would one day rule the nations.
Did you know that your baby boy is heaven's perfect lamb? The sleeping child you're holding
Is the great I
am. 6:25 in the morning. Good morning, Guam. And we are live and back on day after Thanksgiving. Of course, we can call it Black Friday. The Link, the show being brought to you by IT&E, Pacific Points, Calvo's Enterprises, and Jack in the Box. And we're back with the one and only Sabrina Salas Matanani, Jason Salas, myself filling in for the vacationing Chris Malfunction. Victorious. Half a day and good morning. Happy Friday. Friday!
And can we be the first official people to say it? Because now it is official. It's politically correct to say this now. Merry Christmas!
Oh, yeah! Jamming Christmas
Merry
music.
Christmas! Get out there and shop. Stay 6 feet apart. Wear your mask.
And for those of you waiting in line, make sure to stay tuned because we are giving away some cool prizes as part of the Calvo's Count on Us for Life giveaway. We are talking about gift certificates for places to go out and eat, gas certificates, and then you can register for a $1,000 shopping spree at Payless, and as well as 2 hotel night stays. So stay tuned for that because we are going to be giving away 4 different prizes today.
And you know what? I don't care what the doctors say. I mean, all respect to them because they put in the work. They've gone to school for a very long time. They've done the residency and all that stuff. Tryptophan is a thing. The thing in turkey that makes you sleepy, everybody says it's a myth. I don't know about you guys, but I'm dragging this morning because I had a lot of turkey yesterday. How about you guys?
Even since our luncheon on Wednesday, I'm still dragging. Wow.
Well, you may have consumed a couple other
Yeah,
substances, which tend to make you a little sleepy. I'm
that
just
too.
saying.
No comment.
Well, I tell you what, let's get into the news, guys, because we need to. Off it, everybody. A staff officer with the Guam Police Department is under investigation. According to a media release, GPD's Internal Affairs Investigation has opened an administrative investigation for alleged misconduct that occurred during the late night hours on November 11th in the Sagan Ipapau neighborhood in Dededo. The press release states, quote, patrol officers responded to the neighborhood for a reported suspicious vehicle and soon after their arrival met with the reporting person, witnesses, and the alleged suspicious vehicle. Because of the sensitivity of the information surrounding the investigation and over the protection of due process rights of all parties involved, more specific details concerning the incident and the investigation cannot be released at this time. Chief of Police Steve Ignacio has also coordinated with the AG's office to conduct a criminal investigation into the matter. The Port Authority's Board of Directors passed a resolution that gives General Manager Rory Respicio the authority to take any and all administrative and or criminal actions necessary regarding alleged illegal retroactive salary adjustments of former Port General Manager Senator Joanne Brown. The resolution follows an AG opinion issued in a question involving retroactive pay raises at Gura. Following a review by the Port's legal counsel into the board's past actions related to the former general manager, the Port determined that about 8 pay adjustments for Brown contained illegal retroactive payments worth thousands of dollars. During the Port board meeting, however, Director Isa Koki wanted more clarification and wanted to table the matter. Here's a portion of that discussion during that board meeting.
Asking is we have to act on what we know now. If we believe there are other people out there, as we get that information, we'll go through the same process. If there's a question of statute of limitations, then let Ms. Brown, through her attorney, make that argument. I would love for her to come out and say, I'm not paying it back because the statute of limitations run out. Number two, this criminal action necessary, the resolution doesn't give me the authority to determine the criminality. I don't have that authority. But the action, the definition of the action could be something as simple as me filing a complaint with the Attorney General's office saying that there may be some criminal activity. I'm not saying there's criminal activity now, or I'm not wanting to close that door if there's possible criminal activity in not wanting to make this right. So I don't know what you're saying, Director Koki, if you're saying we don't do anything until we know who else is out there.
No, I'm just saying we should definitely do our fair share of due diligence and maybe just check if you just want to check all the general managers at this point.
Okay, let's start with this one because obviously this one is what was brought up by the public auditor.
I also want to comment, Rory, that if the AG's office is already made aware of this, why would we need to file a complaint? If they're aware of something, then shouldn't they be able to take the actions needed if they believe something criminal happened here? So wouldn't it have already been with them?
No, you would think, but in the AG opinion, it punted it back to the board of directors and said, go ask your board what the board wants to do. So a lawyer will execute what the client wants. In this case, you guys are the client, you're my boss. I'm not going to act without any directive, but I also want to make it clear that as general manager, whenever I see there's an infraction, I admitted that the port should not have paid it. There's other instances where other agencies paid something, and even though the agency paid it, the remedy was the employee pays it back. So based on what the AG is asking of us, basically saying, go back to your board, have your capable counsel make the determination. There's similarities in this situation versus other agencies. There's precedence when other employees received a pay raise that was not statutorily authorized and it was retroactively applied, they had to pay it back.
And what did those agencies do to initiate this process? Did they file a complaint?
The Attorney General wrote a legal opinion saying it's illegal. And without being told to do it, Governor Calvo had his staff pay it back. The CCU, when the AG came out and said that those raises, since they were discussed in executive session, are illegal, the CCU took it upon themselves to have the employees pay it back. Now, we're not going to play a cat and mouse game here, directors, where we're going to wait to see what the AG is doing. Unfortunately, the OPA said that's not within my scope of the audit. So he punted it over to the AG. Then the AG didn't even do a legal opinion direct specific to this case. They did not. They didn't take the time to do a legal opinion that's specific to the Port Authority of Guam. They said, hey, you have a capable legal counsel. There's similarities here. There's a concern here. Have your legal counsel give you the direction, guidance, have your board give you the direction. And the AG said, then come back to us and we'll work together. So the criminality part, I'm not going to go and indict her. I'm not an attorney general. That's not part of my authority. That's not part of my responsibility. But certainly if you're saying exercise all means necessary, I have to have a badge. And this resolution gives me the badge to do whatever's necessary to try to recoup this money. I just want to be able to say, I brought this to the board passed the resolution. We quantified the amount, we gave her the letter, the ball's in her court. We filed a complaint with the Attorney General's office, the ball's in their court. And then we can go on to conducting the more important business of the port. But this is equally important because these are ratepayers' money, and I guess the public needs to know what's the final resolution to all of this.
I understand that, and we should definitely protect the resources and the funds of the port. Yes, and especially if there's any misuse of it and we're made aware, then we should fix it. But I am not comfortable with giving this vague authorization to take any and all administrative and/or criminal actions. I want to know what the plan is before I approve or give any authorization. And if we need to table it to be able to talk through this, and if I want to see what is the exact plan, then okay. But here we're having the conversation, and you're saying that you want to go to the AG's office and say this is what our Attorney General opined on. This is X number of dollars that we believe should be owed back to the port. Then I'm okay with that. But I want that to be clear in the resolution that we're going to sign, because I don't want to leave the door wide open because we signed this resolution for anything outside of that, which could happen, Rory, if we sign this. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, because you come to us constantly before you act, but you don't need to once we sign this.
And why not? So what's the consequence of the door being wide open if we're going to get a resolution to this case? What's the consequence? What's the consequence?
I don't want to go down a criminal or a legal matter without knowing all of our options. And I want to make sure before we go down that path, like I said, are we within statute of limitations? What are all, let's do our homework first before we go down, which is still open.
We're not going to decide that. We don't have the authority to decide those things. It would mean simply filing a letter to the AG saying, here's the copy of the resolution that was adopted by the board. Please look into any possible criminal wrongdoing. Then if the AG acts, fine. If they don't act, fine. But this is not a matter before the Port Authority anymore.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be at that time.
Say, kick the door wide open and let's go down our road and have the AG make those determinations. How much longer do we have to wait? How much more time do we need? Meanwhile, the question is out there, did the individual get monies that she was not entitled to? Answer is yes, it was illegal. And should she pay it back? The answer is yes. Will she pay it back? That's up to her.
Rory, we've waited X number of months to get nothing from the AG's office other than reference to another matter, okay? We can wait we can wait, we can table this, we can have the conversation exactly what we want as a board and as an authority to happen. I don't want to rush through this. I don't want to make a motion to approve something I'm not comfortable with. I make a motion to table this and let's go through it in detail of what your plan is.
Okay, Rory, excuse me. Let us table this, and then we can have a special board meeting and table this.
Mr. Chairman, before you do that, I don't think there's, what will we get by tabling this? We put everything out before you, members of the board. Your decision is yes or no. Your decision is pass it or don't pass it, not table it. Doing nothing is of a greater consequence to the credibility of the port. It's to the credibility of the port. That's the consequence. We made payments that we should not have made, and we acknowledge that they're illegal, and we're going to table it because we don't want to do anything. That's the consequence to the port.
I'm not saying I don't want to do anything, Rory. And Rory, don't raise your voice like that because we're trying to have a productive conversation, and I feel like we're going in circles and it's no longer productive.
Needed 3 votes to pass. Voting in favor were members Dot Harris, Nate Timinglo, and Chairperson Francisco Santos. Director Koki abstained from voting. Aside from Brown's case, the port was also instructed to look into any other retroactive pay raises that may have been given to other former PAG management from December 2012 through December 2018, and also seek any and all administrative or criminal actions. Now, in an interview with KUAM last week about the pending resolution, the Senator Brown, called it retribution, adding the port is coming after her, but it's not going to stop her from speaking out about what she thinks is wrong in the government. The Joint Information Center reporting 11 people are now hospitalized for COVID, 1 patient receiving ICU level of care, 1 on a ventilator. Out of the 11 hospitalizations, 4 vaccinated, 7 unvaccinated. Since Wednesday, there have been a total of 29 new cases out of 1,196 tests performed. Additional results will be reported on Monday, the 29th. To date, there have been a total of 19,146 officially reported cases, 263 deaths, 1,723 cases in isolation, and 17,160 recoveries. The CAR score now 1.3. As of November 24th, a total of 125,151 of Guam's eligible population, that's residents 5 years and older, are fully vaccinated. As for booster shots, the following have been administered: 15,758 doses of Pfizer, 8,780 doses of Moderna, and 237 doses of J&J. Public Health also reporting that it received 65 new results from virus samples collected on Guam between August 10th to September 30th, which underwent genome sequencing by the CDC. 2 were identified as variants being monitored. 63 were identified as the Delta variant of concern. Out of the total 319 virus samples sent to the CDC to date, 172 COVID cases were infected with variants. Additionally, the governor signed an executive order extending her declaration of a public health emergency for Guam until December 30th. In the CNMI, since Wednesday, there have been 77 new cases out of 1,257 tests performed. There are now 251 active cases and 3 active hospitalizations. There have been 358 new cases since October 28th. The total case count in the CNMI since March of last year is now 649. With more news now, here is Jason Solis.
This news update is brought to you by Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
The Manila organization is a nonprofit organization on Guam aiming to empower children and families through an array of programs. And recently, a group of special young people got to partake of some really fun activities. Jonah Gonçalves has more.
Recently, a group from the Anderson Fire Department made their way down south to Pagacao and Hoggett to take part in one-on-one mentorship after school with a handful of children ages 5 to 11. Overseeing the activity, firefighter Andrew Kim says the opportunity was made possible by the Metnetli organization, which is formerly the Big Brothers Big Sisters of Guam.
About, I'll say, half a month ago, we coordinated with the organization to help the kids out. And we're looking to do more organizations and volunteer activities in the future. We wanted to do something with kids because it's a very big thing. For the whole purpose of a fire department is a service to the community and just to step in, especially with kids, and help kind of mentor them with anything from life or just basic issues. It's a great privilege.
Kim says because of their work schedule, it's rare that his team is able to take part in off-base community outreach and events. But when everything aligned for 7 of the firefighters, they were ready and willing to brighten up the day of some kids.
We helped with arts and crafts. We helped introduce our firefighting gear and the rest of the people in our department to show them some firefighting safety tips. We helped decorate Christmas drop boxes. Some tags. Everything was Christmas themed.
He says members from the crew were delighted as a few slowly opened up to them, allowing them to connect with the kids. They look forward to doing more activities such as this. In closing, Kim said,
Just help the community out in any way possible, especially if you have free time, because we do work 2 days on, 2 days off, so we do get more free time than others. And I encourage everybody, military or civilians, just dedicate some of your time. It's a great feeling, it's very fulfilling.
If you would like to find out how you can volunteer your time with mentoring, or if you would like more information on how to assist with any of Manetlu's programs, visit manetlu.org or find them on Facebook. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Jonagan Charpris.
All right, thanks so much, Joe. And in other news, island residents have one more thing to be grateful on this Thanksgiving weekend. Cheaper gas prices, as prices at the pumps of Shell, Circle K76, and mobile stations dipped from $4.99 to $4.88, according to their billboards. A little over a week ago, on November 15th, gas prices dropped from $5.99 to $4.99. This is actually the fourth time gas prices have decreased since May of this year. And because it is the Thanksgiving weekend, our Tomas Mangloni continues his 6 Feet Apart, 6 Feet Under series, introducing you to Savi Diaz, a woman who lost her father, Roy Anthony Muña, to COVID-19. And she reminds us of what her father told her, that God and family are always essential.
There are cherished memories for a lifetime, even with a life taken too soon.
What he imparted with us was that the most important thing is to remember what's most important, and that's God and then family. And so, with that being said, he was always around. He was very present in my sister and I's life. He actually passed away the day before my mom and dad's 36th wedding anniversary.
Savi Diaz will always feel her dad, Roy Anthony Muña's presence, one filled with immense love.
Him and my mom, they started an appraisal company, and from there they did real estate, and they always had their office in the home. And so it was cool just watching them work together, do everything together. And they had a very good relationship with each other. And I think that really set an example from my marriage and for my sister's marriage, what love looks like.
A hopeful, persevering love that daily reports can never capture. Her father passed away last November, Guam's 82nd COVID-19 related death.
It was a very surreal experience. Because, you're just trying to support your loved one from afar, and
At least 263 other families on Guam are familiar with the gravity of this grief.
His experience was really tough. He had a lot of moments where he called us and he was struggling, not being able to breathe is terrifying. You try and hold your breath for a little bit to imagine, right? Just breathing very, taking small breaths.
Virtual rosaries took place of in-person ones before her entire family could share the same breath to lay him to rest.
It may have been different if I had been able to be by his side, So that would have been made it much easier. It would have been easier to get over, or not get over, but to heal from. And, and just knowing how hard it is on people not being able to breathe and being scared by themselves. So I think when I see those numbers, I really just feel for the families as well.
That empathy turned into a mission. She launched the Roy Anthony Muña Project.
In the last hours of his death, and as hard as it was for him to talk, he did say that the doctors and the nurses did a great job. And I know he wanted us to know that because it was hard for us knowing that we weren't able to be there. And so I took that as he wants us to move forward and be positive and to not dwell on the hardship that he went through. And so that's why we were inspired to do this.
It provides communication boards for patients to use to talk with loved ones easier. It's already giving voice to people in the States, Guam and Saipan.
It's something positive, and we want to help other patients that are going through the same thing.
Tomas Manglotnya for KUAM News.
Let's get back now to the link.
This news update is brought to you by Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
And we now head into the Zoom room where we check in once again with Tomas Manglonia. Good morning, Tomas.
Good morning, Bree, Jace, Vic, and Mike. As reported last night, 45 new cases have been confirmed for COVID-19. This brings the total case count to the CNMI to 649. I wanted to provide more details as we received more data last night as well. Of those 45 new cases from the CNMI, 34 are fully vaccinated, 6 are unvaccinated, and 1 is partially vaccinated. 2 were ineligible for the vaccination, and 2, they're waiting to hear back on their vaccination status. Of course, this comes amid the CNMI's COVID surge, as we reported one of the largest spikes just over the last week. And since October 28, when the spread for community transmission was first identified, there's been 358 new cases. 154 of them were through contact tracing, 192 through via community testing, and 12 identified via travel testing. I think, Bree, one of the interesting things that lots of folks are also talking about over the weekend is that now our community cases have surpassed our travel cases. Travel cases are around 267. Community cases are now at 382 in the course of this pandemic. Of course, travel cases have been at the highest rate so far with the quarantine protocols, and now community cases have surpassed that in just a matter of weeks. And so we're gonna hear from the CNMI Governor's COVID-19 Task Force at 8 a.m. in just about an hour. They have their weekly COVID-19 press briefing, and we're expected to hear back about some just hear from the COVID-19 task force on maybe what's being addressed. We know that they're having a plan to do targeted vaccinations here in the CNMI to bring vaccines into the community. And that's something that we'll definitely ask about. And schools, of course, are expected to reopen here in the CNMI, the public school system, on Monday. I wanted to shift gears a little bit and share a bit of a reporting about the NMI governor's new video series that he launched on Facebook. He's taking to Facebook to air some of his responses to the allegations that the House committee waged against him. And so he released a 60-minute video talking and justifying his utility bills, saying that he worked with the CUC director, Gary Camacho, to address some of the issues with his metering, which resulted in some bills in the thousands. And we're being told that the next video will be dropping next week. And so, of course, this is all happening amid the JGO investigation. And as we've had the JGO chair, Selena Babata, on the show, she tells us that the hearings are supposed to wrap up by the end of the year. Obviously, we're heading into December, but we do know that the subpoena for CNMI Governor Ralph Torres was approved, but it has yet to be issued. And that's something that he's told us on the press conference when we asked him. He said he hasn't received anything yet. And as we'll continue to follow up on that, but he is taking to Facebook to directly address the allegations head on. And so we'll definitely have more on COVID-19 here in the CNMI, and also that investigation after the press conference at 8 o'clock this morning, guys.
Wow, it's a lot of news to cover. I did want to go back to the cases. You said 45 new cases, and did you say a majority of them were vaccinated individuals?
34 fully vaccinated, 6 unvaccinated, 1 partially vaccinated, and then 2 ineligible and 2 pending confirmation. They did address this in their press release and in conversations with public health throughout the course of the past year, at least. They're emphasizing vaccinations. The hospitalizations now is also something that has increased to 3. And we do know that they have the treatments here available, but of course, as all these new cases rise, their status continues to be monitored just as they're being identified. So their public health is saying vaccinations prevent hospitalizations, and hopefully that's something we'll see in the coming weeks.
Does the task force there, how we have Dr. Babutsky, she breaks down all of the numbers. Do you know the age group of those that tested positive and were vaccinated?
Not of the recent cases, but we're seeing, the data does not include that at the moment. And so that's something that usually public health always comes out and does their data presentation. But what we do know is that at least for the vaccination status, the regional epidemiologist, Stephanie Curran-Lee, was saying that it seems to be proportionate, as in the number, proportionate to what is reflected in the vaccination rate in the CNMI. And so she says as vaccinations increase, it is proportionate to the cases that we're seeing. So that's their explanation for that.
What about additional restrictions? Has there been any word on that?
No, not at all. I think at this point, Bree, maybe I've asked about 4 times about whether or not there was a threshold, or if they're looking at a certain positivity rate, case count, hospitalizations, whether or not if restrictions would take place during if the alternate care site were to be activated. None at all. They say they trust the community and that the community has self-imposed regulations. Businesses do have mask, requirements. And so they're trusting the community to do that, and that they think that would be complementary with their approach to having testing, and then again this targeted vaccination, which we are definitely going to have to learn more about, because they do have a plan to go into specific parts of the island to do that as well. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Tomas, and also great job on your series that you've been doing this week. I know it all kind of culminates to today, so you give our listeners and our viewers what tonight's segment will focus on.
Yeah, I just want to thank Savi Diaz. I mean, thank you so much, Savi, if you happen to be listening to this, for sharing your story. And what better message to be reminded that God and family are essential on Thanksgiving, and the life that her dad lived, and how we can live like that too. Tonight's series is going to look at how we heal and move forward and recover from all of the grief and anxiety that we talked about. Definitely, I think one of the biggest questions we covered tonight is, how do you get someone help who might not know that they need help? And I think that's a hard conversation, but as always, something that's necessary. So that will be ending our 5-part series tonight on Primetime.
All right. Thanks a lot, Tomas.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, belated.
Happy belated Thanksgiving. And with your sports link now, here is Dave Delgado.
Sports Link is brought to you by Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape.
Ali Adder, one of the team captains from the Dartmouth women's rugby team. Congratulations on winning the national championship over Army this season.
We knew from our first time playing with them that Army is obviously a very physical. Yeah, so we did that, and mentally we were just going in to every practice and every game, giving it our 100% and thinking about the outcome that we wanted for the game.
Well, winning the national championship 28-18 over Army. Talk about the team effort and what it took for you guys to pull off that victory.
2018, actually, we played Army in the semifinals, and then we played Harvard in the final. So that one took a lot of effort, most especially because it was during a snowstorm. So we all kind of had to work together and play as best as we could and as together as we could so that we could pull off that win. And then for this game against Army, we actually were expecting Harvard to go into the final, but Army pulled off the win against them in their semifinals. So like I said, in preparation, we just wanted to make sure that we were focusing on our game and focusing on the skills that we know that we are good at and can excel at. Something that one of the parents said, and it is true, Army is a tough team. They're a tough team physically, and but we are a dangerous team. We're a dangerous team when all our skills and all our talents are put together and we're out there playing our own game of rugby.
Well, looking back at your college career, winning a national championship your freshman season, and then winning again your senior season, looking back at your time there at Dartmouth, what are you going to remember most as you do wrap up your senior year there?
I said this before. I'm going to remember just the countless numbers of days of blood, sweat, and tears that we've worked into into preparing for this final national championship, especially with losing our junior year season and seventh season. We really honed in on our craft, and really trying to master our craft so that we can have the outcome that we did this past weekend. Just all the hard work and preparation that we did leading up to Saturday.
That freshman class that you were a part of, and when a program builds around the incoming freshmen, talking to some of your fellow teammates about the 4 years there, what has that been like, just looking back at it?
Going in as freshmen, we all, like my freshman class that I went in with, we were a very talented class. I would say confidently that we had a very talented class. We had people from all different backgrounds, and we went in and we all started and we all made contributions to the team that obviously have grown so much and have made it into what this program is today. And it just keeps building and building, and to know that we're leaving some kind of legacy for others below us to build upon and build off of, we always talk about how much of an amazing and surreal feeling it is.
UOG baseball coach Roque Alcantara Jr. here to talk about the trials for the UOG baseball team being held December 4th and 5th from 9 to 12 in the afternoon at the George Washington High School baseball field. Proof of vaccination and COVID-19 protocols in effect.
Get the drills going, get some fundamentals going. We want to see the talent that comes out, and we just really want to see a good number showing so that we can get the program started. We don't have a structure just yet, but we're working on that, and we have a few verbal confirmed players right now that are ready to come out. I'm doing a campaign with all the high schools just to see if their seniors want to come out and just work out with us, join us with the program, and hopefully, get them enrolled too for fall semester 2022.
Talk about maybe some of the coaches that are going to be helping you out with the program there.
My teammates from the national team, we got Dominic Cruz, who called me, showed some interest. He wants to give back. We have Ken Fernandez, who is an alumni of UOG. Also, Paul Pangilinan as well, one of the best lefty pitchers on the island. I'm reaching out to all my other teammates out there to want to come out and just give back. It's been about 18 years since we had our last UOG Tritons baseball team.
Building this program from the ground up with, local coaches, bringing in local talent. It allows the university to keep our kids here on island and allowing them to continue playing baseball at the collegiate level.
Keep these kids here and get that education that, they don't have to go off island for. Get that education here and, play ball for the university, representing, our Triton pride, representing the island. And then, further on down the road, join that national program, go out there and represent our island and compete in an international competition. That's a big thing, is losing local talent to off-island schools, and then later on down the road, we don't even have them in the national program to represent our island.
SportsLink is brought to you by Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape.
Department of Administration is accepting applications for the Guam Emergency Rental Assistance Program. You can go to doa.guam.gov to apply. This is for the online tenant pre-qualification. That's the application web form. Download the PDF form. Applications are also available at the ERA office in the ITC building. If you have any questions, you can call 671-638-4518, 4519, or you can email era@doa.guam.gov. Now, the ERA program is for those who have been financially impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. It'll help pay for rent, rental arrears, utilities, and even possibly internet services, as well as moving expenses.
That's the one thing, and we've been trying to emphasize that. I mean, it's called the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, but actually that is it's a pretty wide spectrum and everything. So you might qualify if you experience hardships during the pandemic. Again, if you had trouble getting online, internet connectivity issues, if you were moving in or out, you may qualify. And also, please go to doa.guam.gov, will you? They have a wonderful FAQ section over there. They answer all of the questions that you might ask. But if you have anything that's outside that scope, then like Bree said, all you have to do is give their office a call. The ERA office is 638-4518.
Also, if you were determined ineligible previously, you're encouraged to reapply, particularly if your financial status has changed or your housing becomes unstable. Again, the number is 671-638-4518 or 4519. And now it's time to give away some really cool prizes from the Calvo's Count on Us Count on Us
Really
for
cool.
Life
These
giveaway.
are awesome.
Yes, they are. It's the holiday season, and Calvo's Insurance is celebrating the people we can count on in life. What we need you to do is give us a call at 671-637-0094. And this is really simple. All you need to do is tell us, who can you count on in good and challenging times? Tell us how you were able to count on this person. The number is 671-637-0094. And we do have a caller on the line. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, hi. Turn down your radio or your TV. We're getting feedback.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah, that's a lot better. But are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. First, what's your name?
My name is Stefan.
Hi, Stefan. Happy belated Thanksgiving.
Likewise, happy belated Thanksgiving to you and the KUM team.
Thank you. So, who can you count on in good and challenging times?
Well, I want to say a few people, but first off, I want to point out towards my wife. I've been with her since '99. We actually just had a baby boy in October.
Aww.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Actually, our story is a little, we didn't have the blessing to have our own child, so we actually were living in the mainland and came home to adopt my sister-in-law's son. So officially, paperwork took some time and officially came into to play in the beginning of the year. And I want to say he was our blessing for our baby boy to be finally born, or for us to finally be blessed with our own baby boy along with him.
Wow, that is so. You're gonna make me cry.
There's certainly a lot to be thankful for this year, Stefan.
Definitely. So.
What's your wife's name?
My wife's name is Jolie.
All right. Well, congratulations. You guys just won a $25 gift certificate to Mess Club Bistro, and you also won $25 worth of gas certificates. So congratulations to you.
That's a lot of Tinala Kutney, Stefan. That's good stuff, man.
It is, man. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to thank you guys real quick for what you guys do. I do my best to try to catch you guys every day possible. So thanks to my job, I'm a mixer driver. So I get to listen to you guys on the radio every time I'm in and out of the truck.
Aw, thank you.
Oh, so you know what it's like to operate the heavy metal.
I do. I actually operate a mixer with for Hawaiian Rock. So.
That's the big trucks, man. Congratulations. Yeah. That's a big responsibility. Yeah. But we also know you got a really big heart because you thanked your wife. We know how much love you have for you, and again, congratulations on your family.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, man.
All right, don't hang up, okay? Because Vic's gonna get some of your information so we can so you can come pick up your prize.
Okay, thank you.
All right, take care.
All right, take care.
All right, don't forget, everyone, that you can still win, aside from the prizes that we're giving away on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays through December. Go to Calvos.com and nominate who you can count on and enter for a chance to win great prizes. Winners will redeem the prizes here at KUAM. But when you go to Calvos.com, you can win some of the grand prizes for that person that you count on. And also as the nominator, you can also win great prizes. And we're talking about two-night stays for a family of 4 at the Loti Hotel. That includes dinner on check-in day, breakfast, lunch. And then the person who nominated the winner gets $300 worth worth of Lone Star gift certificates. And then you can also win $1,000 Payless shopping spree for the person you can count on. That's for the winner, right? And then you have to spend that $1,000 within 3 minutes. And then the person who nominates the winner, you get $250 worth of Payless gift certificates and $250 worth of Shell gas certificates. So again, that for the grand prizes, go to calvils.com, and then stay tuned because later we're going to be giving away more prizes as part of the Calvils Count on Us for Life giveaway. And stay tuned. We're going to get to our first guest after the break.
The world of television is more exciting than ever.
Half a day. This is Governor Lou Leon Guerrero. If you're struggling to pay rent and utilities because of the pandemic, your government can help. Our Emergency Rental Assistance Program provides direct relief to you. To date, over $6.9 million has helped over 1,500 households.
Apply online at eoa.guam.gov or call the Department of Administration's Emergency Rental Assistance Program at 671-638-4518 or 19.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore. Stop on by and visit our showroom today. We offer everyday low prices on all major outdoor power equipment like bush cutter, chainsaw, power washer, generators, and more. Need service, repair, maintenance? Well, check out Guam's best superstore only at Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape, located in Barragata along Army Drive between Submarina and Besta Market. Call 735-7446 for more information. Now shipping to surrounding islands. Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore.
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. Got a question about your finances? You've come to the right place. Bring all your accounts together, even those that aren't with us, and see the big picture, right down to the smallest detail. Unlock powerful tools like Insights and Money Map that help you save time and take control of your finances. When you connect accounts with the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, it all starts with yes.
Do you feel like you're missing out on something? Make life more rewarding with Pacific Points. Earn and redeem points for bill rebates and free load at IT&E, discounts on fuel at Shell, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. You can even pay with Pacific Points at IT&E, Shell, and Foodies. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage. With generations of Filipinos calling Guam home, KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city, featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by KFC.
We all know that a healthy lifestyle is important to prevent chronic diseases and long-term illnesses and boost mental health. It's difficult to determine exactly which healthy habits are worth investing in to live longer and healthier lives. But FHP is here to help. Tune into The Link every Tuesday for FHP Hafa Health Tips, brought to you by Take Care. Helpful advice about healthy lifestyle choices that will have a big difference in your health from the medical experts at FHP Clinic. FHP Hafa Health Tips on The Link every Tuesday is brought to you by Take Care.
Uno Mixed. We're mixing it up on the last Thursday of every month with a look at lifestyle, entertainment, food, and so much more on the stations, networks, and digital platforms of KUAM Communications. Uno Mixed is presented to you by Docomo Pacific, Better Together, and Pepsi. That's what I like.
1 in 6 people on Guam are affected by diabetes. The terrible impact of the disease on the island has only been amplified by the COVID-19 pandemic, as many of those hospitalized and those we've lost had pre-existing underlying conditions like diabetes. As November is Diabetes Awareness Month, KUAM News has partnered with AI Health to raise awareness for this disease that affects so many of us and to showcase a number of ways to prevent, treat, and care for those with diabetes. Join us for AI Health's A Healthier You, Making Diabetes History on Guam, a multi-platform campaign on KUAM Communications, including a 6-part series on KUAM News Primetime and Weekend Edition, and our digital media platforms kicking off on World Diabetes Day, Sunday, November 14th. Daily interviews with expert panelists on the link beginning November 15th, and a special interactive town hall meeting on the link with experts from AI Health, with more information on their diabetes validation study and a new level of precision care that aims to create a healthier Guam. A Healthier You, Making Diabetes History on Guam, a look at how diet, exercise, and technological advances in disease monitoring and medical care can have a positive impact on our community.
The Healthier You series on KUAM News is presented in partnership with Calvo Select Care and Paradise Fitness Center.
Get ready to run or ride to 22 with the Miles Challenge. Join the challenge from now till January 31st to rack up those miles on foot or by cycling. Runners can choose from 100, 200, and 300 miles. Cyclists 300, 600, and 900 miles. Go to mileschallenge.com to select your challenge and register today. The Run and Ride to 22 Challenge is brought to you by Uproar, Trench Challenge, Kill Cliff, and KUAM Communications. Donation proceeds to benefit the EMC Cancer Foundation. Guam is good.
Bring home more with Shell V-Power and Pacific Points.
Back to the link the day after Thanksgiving, so you know what that means. Some of us are a little bit pudgy, maybe. We're all enjoying football. We're all ready for Black Friday. I mean, for those, okay, shout out to those of you who are already doing Black Friday. God bless you. Good luck. Happy hunting. Everything like that. But there was a lot going on in our island community, including an island tradition, I would say. My dear friend Crystal Koga with Seroptimus International is in the Zoom. And Crystal, a half a day, happy holidays. And it has been so long since I've been able to talk to you. So it's so good to see you.
Hi.
Half a day, nice to see you. I miss you all. I cannot believe what's happened in the last 2 years. But,
I know. But you know,
we're here now, right?
But you know,
Still.
your commitment and the commitment of the Seroptimist continues and everything. And unfortunately, one of the island traditions that we have not been able to do in person has been your annual brunch. But you figured out a way around that.
Yes. So it's our 16th annual Christmas brunch that has gone virtual. So we couldn't hold it last year due to the pandemic, but we thought that this year we would try to do something virtual because, you know, we need the funds, and the funds from this brunch go to fund our awards for our women and girls on Guam. So it stays on Guam. And, you know, we thought of an idea and it looks like it's working. We're in the middle of it. And, you know, I just hope that people will support it and continue to support it.
Absolutely. Well, we support it too because one, we love doing things on Zoom because we can catch up with our friends like you. But also, I don't know about everybody else out there, but I am totally into the idea of virtual brunch.
Yeah.
I can join on any device that I have as long as I have Zoom on it. I can be anywhere literally in the world. And I can see a lot of really good people who really care about the island and really want to shine the light on some amazing women and young people in our island who really deserve, you know, their recognition.
Yeah, so our idea for this virtual brunch was we had 4 different components to it. So the first one, it's a holiday. So we're doing coupons. So rather than have the brunch in person, right, people can redeem these coupons at 3 squares. So one of the coupons is for a holiday brunch gift box, and it's full of sweets and treats, and it's really great for a gift.
Okay, I'm in. Sweets and treats, I'm in. Count me in. I'm good.
So these coupons are good to now from now till December 12th, you can redeem them at 3 Squares. It's $35. And then we have another component of the brunch, which is the family platter that feeds 4. And this is from 3 Squares as well. And we're selling that for $40, the coupon. And this coupon is good to May 2022.
Wait
So
a minute, Crystal. Let me get this straight. So you said $35 for sweet treats from our friends at 3 Squares, who always outfit us anyway, and $40 for a 3 Squares meal that feeds 4. Crystal, I feel like I'm ripping you off. I know it's for the holidays.
Yeah,
That's
actually,
a great bargain.
Yeah, because it's we're trying to give our supporters a lot of flexibility with these coupons, and we're working with 3 Squares. So the brunch box, gift box, is redeemable till the 12th, but the family platter $40 coupon is redeemable till May 2022. So you could give it for gifts now, or you could use it next year. Mm-hmm. And then we have a third component, which is our online auction. So at our in-person brunch, we have I would say we have one of the biggest silent auctions for a nonprofit event.
I've covered those for many years, and there's so much
right? Yeah, so we have 50 to 100 items. And so this year, we're going to have an online silent auction, and it's going to be good for 5 days online access. You can bid on items for 5 days. It's going to close on the 11th of December. So it's going to be open, go live online about the 4th or 5th of December, and it'll end on the 11th of December. So you have the whole week to bid. We're going to send out the link to all of our contacts and share it on Facebook. So that's the way, people can access it. Mm-hmm. And then the final component, of course, is the cash donations that we are receiving. And I mentioned, if it's okay, our 4 sponsors.
Sure.
Guam Community College, Bank of Guam, Island Icons, and the Crystal Collection. So these 4 sponsors are driving this fundraiser from the foundation. Mm-hmm. And our supporters and customers and friends and family, we hope will support the other components of the brunch, the coupons,
absolutely,
the online auction. Yeah.
And I got to tell you, those 4 sponsors, I mean, we work with all 4 of those companies. They're amazing corporate partners. They really exhibit, social responsibility and everything like that. But yes, I got to tell you, I also really like Crystal Collection, because their staff and their owner, they're really good people.
Thank you so much, Jason. Yeah, it's been really difficult for any retail. Mm-hmm. I would say any retail non-essential business to survive, because of the restrictions, and hopefully this coming year will bring much relief in allowing us to open and see people as much, as many customers as we can, right? Sure. In a safe way.
Can you talk about that for a second, Crystal, from the standpoint of community service and leadership? How has Soroptimist been able to weather this storm from these really weird times?
So this year, 2021, is Soroptimist's 100th year anniversary internationally. Mm-hmm. So Soroptimist started with 1 club 100 years ago in Oakland, California, and now they're up to 72,000 members worldwide. So we've weathered this pandemic pretty successfully, I think. The Soroptimist leadership has gone virtual, of course. So we've had a lot of course, our conferences were online, were Zoom, and then our local clubs have adapted fundraising via Zoom, online raffle sales. The club members are donating to the club themselves, because it's really hard to go on and get anybody, to buy things right now. Sure. Or to support a $200 event, right? I mean, per person event, people are, a little bit careful with their funds, and rightfully so.
But these truly are people who really take stewardship of their island community. I mean, they want to see Guam not just survive, but thrive and everything. So their commitment to our community certainly has unwavered. Crystal, I got to take a break real quick, but can you let all of our viewers and listeners know right now, if they want to participate, Sure. They want to support the virtual brunch, how can they get involved? Is there a registration that they have to fill out or anything?
actually, you can Erlinda Alegre, Bank of Hawaii, Agana, Lynn Perez, PFC, Tamuning, Angie Gibbons, Bank of Guam, Agana. You can contact them and they can help you out. We have, coupons available, and our Bank of Guam, Agana, and PFC for those kinds of silent auction items if people are able to.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Well, we're going to do all we can to help get the word out about that. So can do, will do. And Crystal, we wish to extend our heartfelt happy holidays to you and your team and to your family. And please be safe.
Thank you. Same to you. I miss everybody. Take care.
All right. So just Masi.
And before we head into the break, we're going to give away another prize from the Calvo's Count on Us for Life giveaway. Again, the holiday season. Calvo's Insurance is celebrating the people we can count on in life. They're kicking off the holidays by giving away exciting weekly prizes and grand prizes. All you need to do is tell us who you can count on in good and challenging times and how you were able to count on this person. Calvo's Insurance has been serving our island for over 80 years, offering you quality insurance and reliable service. Whether you need auto insurance, home insurance, motorcycle insurance, you can count on them for all your insurance needs. The giveaway, again, is perfect for the holidays. All you need to do is give us a call right now. The number is 671-637-0094. Again, 671-637-0094. And all you have to do is answer this question. Who can you count on in good and challenging times? And then you just tell us how you were able to count on this person. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Half a day.
Hi, good morning.
What's your name?
Oh, sorry. My name is Vince.
All right, Vince. Who can you count on in good and challenging times? And we want you to tell us how you were able to count on this person.
It's actually more than one. It's my kids.
Okay.
Oh.
I can count on them in good or bad times by just looking at them and knowing that anything I do is for them, and they remind me why I do it, why I go out and I support them.
And Vince, may I ask, how many children do you have?
I have 5 girls.
What? All girls, too?
All girls.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, you know what? We are setting you up with a $25 gift certificate to Beach and Shrimp. So you guys are going to have a really... And I guess if you want to do equal division, that's $5 per girl.
Don't enjoy that.
That's a lot of good food. And a $25 gas certificate.
So, thank you so much for calling in and sharing your story. We need you to hold on the line. But just so you know, make sure to go over to calvos.com because on the website, you can register to win some of the grand prizes that are on there. And these are a pretty big deal. You can be eligible for the family staycation. So how it works is the nominator gets a prize and the person you nominate gets a prize. Okay, so for the person that you nominate, you could possibly win 2 2-night stays for a family for at Lotte Hotel. For the nominator, you can win $300 worth of Lone Star gift certificates.
Wow.
So then there's grand prize 2, which is the $1,000 Payless shopping spree for the person you can count on, the person that you nominate, and then the person that nominated the individual gets $250 worth of Payless gift certificates and $250 worth of gas certificates.
All we got to say, Vince, go for it.
Yeah.
And good luck.
And there's also one more prize. Again, that's another $1,000 Payless shopping spree. And the deal with the Payless shopping spree is you have to shop within 3 minutes and fill your cart with $1,000 worth of stuff. So, and then the nominator, they get $250 again of Payless gift certificates, and again $250 worth of gas certificates. So again, go to calvos.com and register. And thank you so much for calling. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
All right, stay on the line. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, stay tuned. We're back with Dr. Peter Lombard after the break.
Half a day. This is Governor Lou Leon Guerrero. If you're struggling to pay rent and utilities because of the pandemic, your government can help. Our Emergency Rental Assistance Program provides direct relief to you. To date, over $6.9 million has helped over 1,500 households.
Apply online at eoa.guam.gov or call the Department of Administration's Emergency Rental Assistance Program at 671-638-4518 or 19.
Let's get merry during the most wonderful time of the year by making spirits bright. KUAM Communications and Coast 360 want to highlight your decorations and lights by flooding the social media pages of KUAM with your videos and photos. Finish your holiday setup, snap a few shots or video of your delightful display, and send it to us through social media or email them to promotions@KUAM.com. Check out our posts every Friday or tune in to KUAM News Weekend Edition for a special montage of the submissions certain to be making spirits bright with every broadcast. Warmest holiday wishes from KUAM Communications and Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
This holiday season, we're once again bringing together the island's largest array of local vendors for a special innovative way for you to shop, broadcast, and go digital with Team KUAM. Join us on Sunday, November 28th for the annual Christmas Pops Virtual Holiday Market at 12 noon on KUAM TV8 and the KUAM News Facebook page, plus additional show times through December 11th. We'll also be featuring vendors daily with posts with QR codes and links on our social media pages beginning Monday, November 29th, and hosting an exclusive Christmas Pops website for your one-stop shopping. It's a safe and convenient way for you to shop local this holiday season. To reserve your spot, email promotions@KUAM.com today. Virtual space is limited.
Presented by UOG School of Business and Public Administration, JA Guam, inspiring youth, and the Guam Visitors Bureau, making Guam a better place to live, work, and visit.
On the link, and happy holidays to you and all of your friends. Again, let us be the first to wish you officially Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. It is, and I guess
out there shopping, please, be safe out there.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah, please be safe. We're
Wear
gonna
your mask.
We're gonna tell you all that's going on with Black Friday pretty soon, but kind of fittingly with the now Christmas spirit is our good friend Dr. Peter Lombard, who it seems, Pete, you may be growing like a Santa beard. It seems.
Yeah, it's coming in a little fuller than I expected. I just wished it wasn't so white.
Yeah, well, you maybe got a couple inches to go by the 25th and everything like, but we know you're someone who always gets stuff done, so I believe you can pull it off.
The eyebrows betray the hair color though.
Well, how have you been, man? It's been a little while since we caught up with you and everything. I would assume that you are, as a physician and someone who has tracked the COVID data since the very beginning of the pandemic. You're very pleased to see the CAR score going down, the hospitalizations decreasing, the number of cases, being slowly slowly but consistently on a downward trend over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think it's palpable. We all feel a great deal of relief to see the cases, the hospitalizations coming down. We didn't know for sure it was going to do this. I mean, you've seen in the U.S. the cases from Delta were coming down. Now they're slowly coming up, and we're seeing new surges in Europe. So we were sort of on this really slow downward slope. Then all of a sudden, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, it really dropped. The floor dropped out of the cases. So it's very, very comforting. But it's this still the dread of the unknown with this coronavirus. It's done things that we haven't expected, and I think we'd be foolish to think there are more surprises in store for us. So that's the unfortunate part, but we're certainly in much better shape now than we were, a month or two ago.
Is there historical evidence that kind of suggests that when it comes to a community doing what it's supposed to do and, getting the vaccine, getting the boosters, doing all the social distancing things that is kind of the trend, you'll have a little bit of a decline and then you'll have this massive improvement? Because the only thing I can really go on is, how the stock market would behave, under certain conditions economically, or, how a baseball pitcher's ERA would perform and everything like that. But when it comes to healthcare crises and everything like that, is this the normal behavior?
I think you can find examples of everything. I mean, you can see examples where the surge is very short, other examples where it's prolonged or it starts coming down and then shoots back up again. So I don't really think there's rhyme or reason to it. I don't think that what we did in terms of population, either mandates or behavior, changed much throughout the course of the surge. They started the changing the size of the group gatherings, for example, and not doing much else besides that, other than just to continue to reinforce the normal things, social distancing and mask wearing. I just don't think that those things really played a huge role. I think for me, it's vaccination. I mean, that is, it blows the pants off of any other, any mandate, any sort of other community activity that we could do to get us out of an event where there's a lot of community transmission.
Especially now with the vaccine having been authorized for young people, like pretty much across the board. I mean, all the way down to like 5, and as more people adopt, that mentality. I mean, maybe you will see these, these very meteoric, surges or up or down, depending on how you look at it, of the community improving.
Yeah, that's right. And thankfully, at least we were spared from, even worse carnage if we hadn't had the vaccination levels where they were. Things were very bad. And I just, to think it could have been, many magnitudes worse is pretty humbling.
Doc, do you have any numbers for us?
I do. Can I screen share?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Oh, here we go.
I was just going to say, aside from lowering the age eligibility for the vaccine, I think also what's important is the booster shots.
Can you say that again, Sabrina? I'm sorry.
Also important, aside from lowering the age eligibility to get vaccinated, is the booster shots, going back and getting your third dose.
Yeah, we've got, I think, of the eligible population that can be vaccinated. I've got a slide on this. I think we've vaccinated, we've given a booster to maybe 30%. So we're not quite there yet, but it's actually not that bad compared to a lot of other places. And here's, I like to just show how Guam compares to the rest of the United States. And for a long time, we were one of the worst in the country, and one of the worst in the world with regards to the number of cases per capita that we were seeing. And the same followed for deaths as well. In fact, we looked even worse comparatively. And here's that sort of that slow decline, and then the floor dropped out, and now we're sitting down here at about 10 cases or so per 100,000, which is just great. If you look at what's going on in the rest of the world, so the orange here is the United States, so you can see the Delta wave there. It was coming down nicely. Most of that Delta wave was concentrated in the southeast with Florida and a lot of those states down there with poor vaccination rates. But it's creeping back up. So the same thing didn't happen when you look at the whole the United States as a whole. Guam in green there, you can see how we dropped off. The European Union, kind of behind there in a light purple color, that's where most of the trouble we're seeing today is a lot of Eastern European countries with low vaccination rates. And as an example, I highlighted Austria here, which is sort of off the charts here, worse than Guam was at our worst even. And Austria is a place where I think they've got maybe 60-65% fully vaccinated, so not terrible, but also, guess what, better than the United States on average. So I think that the United States, there's going to be a lot of locations in the U.S. that sees a pretty significant surge in the winter months. This is a chart of all of the European nations and their vaccination rates and compared to their death rates. So the vaccination rates are on the left, and the death rates over the past 2 weeks are on the right side. So most of the deaths that we're seeing in this surge, this early new surge, are happening in countries where the vaccination rate is low. No big surprise there, but just want to hammer this home. We're seeing this any way you look at the data. If you look at the number of deaths recently, most of the recent deaths are coming from places where the vaccination rates aren't very high. So you can talk about population immunity from natural infection. Some of these places may have had previous waves where they had a lot of people that were naturally infected, but it's still not, it's not going to be as protective overall as having more of your population vaccinated. So, for people that are on the fence about it, I mean, you can either be part of the solution or not. And hopefully there's enough safety data that you can feel comfortable with the vaccine at some point, but being part of the solution means getting more of your location better vaccinated.
What was that country in the middle of that last chart, Doc? Was that Latvia?
LV, that's my assumption, is Latvia, yeah.
Yeah, and that is kind of weird because, I mean, they've basically got, maybe 2/3 vaccination, and yet they still have like a pretty substantial amount of fatalities.
Yep, that's true. And that's kind of like what we saw in Guam. We had very good vaccination rate, but way more deaths per capita than you would necessarily expect. So this is the pretty much kind of the same thing, but looking at U.S. states and just drawing a correlation line between all those. So you can see there's a clear correlation between high vaccination and lower deaths. And this is just the last 6 months. This is from May 1st. These are deaths from May to November. Now, again, you could say, well, if you were hard hit at the very beginning, then you're not going to see as many deaths now. And there's some truth to that, but there's still a very strong correlation, at least in the last 6 months, with deaths to vaccination rates. There's obviously a clear outlier here with Florida. Despite having a reasonable vaccination rate overall, they have way more deaths per capita. And I think you can, when you see an outlier, you at least try to consider the reasons why it might be an outlier in the way that it is. And I think a lot of people know, the governor's attitude towards, NPI, mask wearing, vaccinations, making it illegal to mandate masks or vaccinate in schools, things like that. So, and I think if you talk to people who live there and just the way that people behave and act, I think there's probably reasons why you're seeing that. And I put Guam out here, not because it's a side note necessarily, but if you extrapolate 75% to 80%, and then you go up to the number of deaths we've seen, I did the calculation for the last 6 months, so it would be applicable to the chart. We are a huge outlier on this example. Now, the smaller the location, the greater noise you're going to see and the greater variation. But that's part of the reason why they invited the CDC out to try to figure out why did we see so many extra deaths in Guam, particularly the dead on arrivals. But this is how high we would fall out on this chart, and way to the right here. Nobody's even close to Guam and the percent vaccination. And as shocking as that is, again, I always bring back to things could have been so much worse if we had not had the level of vaccination that we did.
What are we up to now? Like 90%, I think? Right, Bree?
We're 80. We're actually about 81% if you go by the latest census numbers of a population of 154,000. So 80%. So 70, 75, and 80s would be about here, and then about 730 deaths per million. So this is a CDC data, just tracks the numbers, same way that we do locally too. But I like just to show that this is cumulative deaths, so you can see how in the first wave, or if you want to call that the first two waves, we had a slow, steady increase in deaths, very few over the course of the summer, and then when the Delta wave hit, you can see it shoot up there. But you can also clearly see that the Delta wave is pretty much over, and the deaths are plateauing. We were seeing 10 deaths a week almost, and now we're sort of slowing down to just a couple. Same plot, but this time in orange here is the vaccination rate. And I wanted to show this because I think it's very nice to see that even in the midst of the Delta wave, our vaccinations continued. And in fact, I calculated about 15% of the population was vaccinated from this point about a week or two into our Delta surge. And again, I think for me, I firmly believe that the vaccination is the number one reason why this surge was able to fall off the way it did. We probably went from in the mid 60s to close to 80% over the course of this Delta wave. And I really don't think that it had much to do with executive orders or mandates or people just doing things better. I think our behavior in the community was probably similar throughout most of the surge. And maybe in a time when the hospital was really full, that people were a little bit more careful. But this is a chart of so our cases are in the bottom here, but the top plot here looks a little weird. That's a chart of the case fatality rate. So of all 100 people that were diagnosed with COVID by a positive test, how many of them died? Okay, so you can see early on in the pandemic, we were at a case fatality rate of about 2%, and it dropped down to didn't get any lower than maybe 1.5%. So that means, 1.5 to 2 out of every 100 people that were diagnosed died. That's not infection fatality because there's a lot more infections than we actually diagnose. But what you can see is that even though we had a Delta surge with a lot more cases than we had before, the case fatality rate continued to fall, and that's because of vaccination. Okay, and that's because we have better treatment. So and that's in the setting of a Delta curve, which had obviously we talked about how much more virulent and transmissible Delta is as well. And if you actually factor in, and we actually know this because they've shown us what we know of the people that have died, how many of them have been vaccinated, how many haven't. So you can use those numbers to calculate a crude case fatality rate for just the vaccinated or just the unvaccinated. And if you look at it, the vaccinated, the case fatality rate, it drops to about 0.015%. So it really falls off. And the unvaccinated is still stays at that high level of 1.5 to 2%. And the two together is how we drop down overall to a lower case fatality rate. So maybe it gets into the weeds a little bit, but I think what gets lost in this, and even in the case fatality rate picture, is that the reason why case fatality rates dropped is because of the population being vaccinated. And it's not just because the vaccine protects us against severe disease and death, which it absolutely does, even over 6 months. But the more people are vaccinated, the easier it is to control the community transmission. And there's, I think, an argument out there that it's the same between vaccinated and unvaccinated. And I'd like to try to dispel that myth because it's not true. There are some aspects that are true to that statement, but I want to be very specific about what people mean when they say that. And I'll talk about that in a few slides here. But I wanted to show, this is from the New York Times, the U.S. vaccination rates in Guam here. If we take 125,000 people vaccinated over our new population, that puts us about 80%. So their numbers obviously are not incorporating the new census data that we have. The new census data, by the way, is I think they've only released a little bit of it. They haven't shown, for example, how many people are in each age bracket. I think they've shown the number of people per village, but and it's a little messy. I mean, you can see how just a fairly small change in census data can really change what your percentages look like. I mean, again, it's all about the denominator. How many are you dividing by? Because 73% to 80%, I think, is a pretty big deal, and that's with the census change. So we would have no idea unless those numbers came out. But nobody's even close except Palau's doing a fantastic job. But we're certainly beating the socks off of any other state, and even Hawaii's down in maybe 61, 62%, which was one of the earlier states to do well. And now not even showing up here on the top 15 or so. Puerto Rico's there. A lot of North New England countries are up there as well. How do we compare if you were to put us on the world stage? Well, these are the top 5 in the world here, and dark green here being the percent fully vaccinated. So we would slip in here, maybe in the top 5, certainly top 10 in the world for countries in terms of total vaccination, which is just fantastic. I mean, there's no other way to say it. We're doing a wonderful job of vaccinating. And this inset here on the right shows the percentage that have been given an additional dose or boosted. So I calculate we've boosted about 30% of the people eligible. So that would put us here. But I think this chart might actually be of the population, in which case we might fall down about 20%, 15 to 20% of the population. But still, not too bad. We're in the top 10 there as well. So just nice to see more evidence that we're doing a great job of vaccinating. This shows the deaths on a sort of a different way to look at it. This is the cumulative deaths again. So here's our Delta wave. You can see how our slope just rapidly increased during the Delta wave. But overall, despite shooting up that high, we're still sort of in the bottom 10 in terms of total deaths per capita. So, we were tracking along down here with the very best in top 5, but with the Delta surge, we certainly spiked. And although we didn't do very well at all in the Delta surge, we're still doing fairly well overall when it comes to the total number of deaths we've seen from COVID in Guam per capita. So just some quick number crunching here. There have been about 120 deaths in the past 3 months with the Delta surge. And unfortunately, those 120 deaths came when there's been a free and effective and safe vaccine that's been readily available to everybody. Approximately 15%, I'm using the numbers that I saw from Dr. Pobutsky's slides when she talks about the number of deaths that in vaccinated versus unvaccinated. I think it settled out about 15% on average were vaccinated. So again, you can take those numbers to look at the case fatality rates, and you get about 2% for the unvaccinated and 0.3% for vaccinated. So it's absolutely not a stretch at all that if all of those people that had died were vaccinated, that about 100 of them could have been saved. I mean, I don't think it's a stretch to say that at all. And even if you want to hedge that a little bit less, I mean, even if it's half that, even if 50 lives could have been saved, I mean, that's huge. I mean, we've become so numb to people dying of COVID that the numbers are almost meaningless to us. But if you said there was a massive car accident and 50 people died, you'd be like, holy cow, 50 people died. I mean, but that's, these are the numbers that we're saying. 120 people died in the last 3 months from COVID. And you can talk about comorbidities and I think there's a tendency to just excuse the deaths because of comorbidities. But these are people that would not, many of them would not have died had COVID not been around or if they had been vaccinated.
Right, but how many does the numbers say though? How many of those individuals that did pass away, that did have comorbidities, that couldn't get the vaccine because of their comorbidities?
That's absolutely a possibility, and unfortunately, I don't know that. It'd be a good question for Dr. Pobutsky if she knows that answer, which may not be known. But you know what? There are not very many things that would preclude you to make it an absolute contraindication. You cannot get the vaccine because it's too dangerous for you. In fact, I really don't know of many conditions at all. I mean, unless you're just severely immunocompromised. But even then, those patients are the ones that you kind of you do want to give the vaccine to people that are immunocompromised, because if they get infected by COVID, they're going to fare much worse. So I don't think that very many of those unvaccinated deaths in the past 3 months have been because they can't get the vaccine. Now, there are people that have comorbidities that can't control their comorbidities, and I think that's a much more relevant question here, because you can't just blame people with comorbidities and say it's all their fault. Obesity, diabetes has been one of the greatest public health challenges, for the past decades, and you're not just going to solve that overnight. You're not going to solve it in a few months. And to think that we can, put some PSAs out there about changing your diet, and we just had Thanksgiving yesterday. How many people, were watching what they were eating yesterday? But I think that's barking down the wrong tree when it's clear that another safe intervention like vaccination can have much more of an effect. And it's really hard to see people, say, well, just they want to throw away the vaccine because it's not perfect. It's not sterilizing. It doesn't completely protect you from getting COVID or even dying from COVID, but it doesn't mean that it's not useful. And I really think when it comes down to the number of people that have died, it could have made a big difference. And the other way to look at it is too, if none of the population was vaccinated, we'd be looking at a case fatality rate of 1.5 to 2%. And the number of deaths that we would have seen, it could have easily been close to 1,000. I mean, if we didn't have an effective vaccine, and that's even with some of the newer treatments that we have. So I found this on one of the Twitter followers that I have, or one of the people I follow on Twitter. But, we get a little snapshot of the hospitalized and vaccinated, unvaccinated. And again, you might see, hey, there's 50 people vaccinated and 70 people unvaccinated in the hospital. And then, people throw up their arms and say, oh, what good is the vaccine then? Well, if you zoom out and you see how many people are left that are unvaccinated and how many people are out there that are vaccinated, you can see a little bit better instead of trying to just do the number crunching, which is, understandably hard for some people. Understanding rates and percentages is very difficult for some people. But when you see it visually like this, of everybody vaccinated, the numbers of those in the hospital is just much smaller percentage. So if you're vaccinated, the chances of you being hospitalized with COVID are much less than if you're unvaccinated, where at least in this approximation, you're seeing half of the people unvaccinated are getting hospitalized. And you could even take that even further and draw a smaller circle in here for people that are in the ICU, or a smaller circle in there for people that have died. You might see, oh, just as many people have died that are vaccinated, unvaccinated. But again, the relative proportion compared to the total people out there that are vaccinated, unvaccinated, then it's a little bit more maybe impactful or easier for people to realize that there is substantial protection with vaccination, even if it's not perfect. We're just lucky to have vaccine at all, let alone one that's as effective as it is. This was an interesting chart that shows the remaining states with mandates of any kind, and it's hard to see. So basically, this little grouping of shaded boxes here are any states that have any sort of gathering restrictions on sizes, and there's hardly any. I mean, there's hardly any states that have any restrictions on sizes, whether it's 10, 25, 50, 100. And over on the right here are states that have mask mandates of any type. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 or 7 out of 50 states have any sort of mask mandate, or in the most far right column there are fines. So I think the point of this is just to show like there's not much at all going on in the U.S. for any sort of mandate that would attempt to modify people's behavior. So I think most of it is just what people are doing on their own of their own volition to try to make themselves safer. And Guam wasn't on this chart, by the way, that I pulled up, unsurprisingly. We've given over 3 million pediatric doses in the United States so far. I think that's important for people to understand in the last, 2 to 3 weeks. And so far, no cases of myocarditis. So it's with the decreased dose, is proving to be a very safe vaccine for the kids 5 to 11. In Guam, we've given about 2,200 doses as of the CHIC report from yesterday. And that represents about 15% of the eligible 5 to 11-year-olds. And that's just a guess, because I don't really know exactly how many people are in that age group, but I'm guessing it's about 15,000. At the current rate, if we keep vaccinating at this rate, we might have 50% of all the kids in this group vaccinated by the end of January. But I don't know how that's going to go. I'd like to think a lot of parents want to get their kids vaccinated, but I can understand some fear. But hopefully the fact that we've given 3 million doses and we're still not seeing any significant problems, they'd be more willing to do that. And it's not just to protect them. There are a lot of other reasons as well, too, that it makes sense to vaccinate our kids. And the booster shots, we have about 80,000 eligible. That means 80,000 people that are fully vaccinated. It's already been 6 months. Already been 6 months since their second dose. So, and now that the CDC has authorized it for any adult that wants it, that shows that we've only given it about 25,000 boosters. So that's 30% of the eligible, 20% of all the fully vaccinated, and 60% of the population. So again, not bad compared to the world stage. Big question I have, which isn't really clear to me, is how many unvaccinated are remaining in Guam. So if you look at the last JIC report, they're showing there was a big change when they tried to incorporate the new census numbers, but it's a little weird. I mean, if you look at the number of ineligible 0 to 4, they're showing about 12,000 or so, right? Now, if in the 5 to 11 age group, there's got to be at least 12,000, right? I mean, now that's 7 years of kids versus 5 years of kids in the 0 to 4. So it's at least 12,000. If you had to just put a number to it, I'd say guess 15,000. It's probably more than that. But if you say it's 15,000, and then you come over and look at the number of kids that we've given vaccines to, only about 2,200 in that same age group, then you're still looking at about 12,000 kids at least who are unvaccinated that are eligible. Okay, so that they would have to fall into this category here, in the unvaccinated and eligible, right? But if 12,000 are 5 to 11, that only leaves 3,000 to 4,000 unvaccinated adults in Guam. I mean, I just find that really hard to believe that there's only 3,000 to 4,000 vaccinated in Guam. Now, maybe it's true, and that would be fantastic, because I don't know how else the numbers would work out here unless we're really overestimating the number of kids that we have out there. But That's really not bad. And I think even if all 4,000 or 5,000 unvaccinated were infected, I think there's a certain proportion of them have already probably been exposed to it, and it still could cause a lot of morbidity here. But I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of that. I think it's hard for me to reconcile that, and maybe there'll be some more clarity on that. But I just don't know if that's even plausible to say there's only 4,000 to 5,000 people that are unvaccinated in Guam, because that's a very small percentage of the population. But maybe we're there, and it bodes well for Guam.
That's like one of the smaller villages, 4,000 to 5,000 people.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I don't know what to make of that, but see, even the CDC, I think they're having trouble with their denominators too. You just go to the website, and they're showing 99.9% of the population over 65 is fully vaccinated. I don't think so. So there's some other more global problems here, and I think we just have to realize and understand and accept and be understanding about the fact that these calculations are difficult. They're depending on data that sometimes is not perfect, and they're just doing the best they can. Hopefully that the data gets better as time goes on.
But data inaccuracy aside, Doc, that's interesting, the 99.9 statistic, because that is specifically what Dr. Babutsky has said that we need to get to, and she goes, we really basically have to be almost like complete immersion to really beat this thing away. She said that. Yeah, she said that multiple times, and she always really tries to emphasize that point.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, the higher we get it, the better. I mean, I think again, if you look at those top 10 countries in the world that have the high vaccination rates, they're doing the best. There's some of them are still having case outbreaks, but their deaths aren't following. There's been this decoupling of deaths from the cases. Just a reminder, when it comes to kids, there are kids dying. 700 or 800 or so have died of COVID in the United States. Of course, they're a lot more protected. We showed this last time, and unfortunately, the infants are dying in a much higher proportion as well. And they're of course not cannot get the vaccine. But there's also a lot of other reasons. Yes, we know they're much less likely to have a bad outcome from a COVID infection. But we're also protecting the network that surrounds the child, whether it's other kids, the adults around them. We're helping them break this chain of transmission in the community. And I think a big one for me, if my kids were in school, would be that it will help to prevent, them having to close classrooms or close schools, sending them home again from face-to-face learning. These types of issues are going to keep coming up over and over again. And there's thankfully been a lot more, I think, publicity about the harms of keeping kids out of school. Being able to relax some of the measures in the school to make the learning more effective, long COVID in kids. So there's a lot of reasons why I think vaccinating the kids in that 5 to 11 range are still important for the parents on the fence about it. And when you look at the number of deaths, I don't know if I showed this before. These are the number of kids that used to die before vaccinations for each one of these diseases. So even for vaccines that we've had for a while now, fewer kids were dying of this than they are of COVID. And so, for people to be sort of really up in arms about a recommendation to get kids vaccinated is to prevent deaths in kids. And it doesn't take many kids' deaths for us to make a recommendation like this, because, kids dying is horrible. They have a life in front of them. So I think maybe this helps to put in perspective that what we're doing and recommending for the COVID vaccine in kids is not unusual, and it shouldn't be surprising based on what we're doing. And unfortunately, this anti-vaccine movement may spill over to other vaccines, and they may say, well, you know what, you're right. Why are we even giving these vaccines to kids if there's even a chance that they might be harmed by the vaccines? And that's sort of the risk that we're taking now by pushing maybe too hard. People like Governor DeSantis in Florida are looking at that and saying, hey, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have vaccine mandates at all. And it would be, I think, a travesty for public health if that spilled over and affected other vaccinations as well. So one quick slide on this idea that we're just as likely to transmit if you're vaccinated and unvaccinated. I've heard this countless times by a number of people. Please remember there's two aspects to a successful transmission from one person to another and then to another. Well, first you have to get infected, and that's key. You got to be infected by someone first, and then you have to transmit it to somebody else. Okay, so there is a study out there which people love to point to that say, well, the viral loads in somebody with a breakthrough infection, you measure the amount of virus in their airways, and it's just as much as somebody who's unvaccinated. Well, there's a lot of caveats to that. Okay, well, first of all, they clear the virus a lot faster, and their symptoms decrease. So the amount of time that they're infected to others is less. Their symptoms are less. So they're probably less infective anyways, even if they have the same peak viral load. Okay, so those two factors sort of decrease this number 2, the chances that you might infect somebody else. But even if they're exactly the same, which I truly, absolutely don't believe that they are, even if you're just as likely to infect someone else if you're vaccinated with a breakthrough infection as someone that's unvaccinated, first you have to get infected. And we know that the vaccine protects you from getting infected. So the number one part of this transmission chain of events, it completely invalidates the claim that you're just as likely to transmit to somebody else, because you're not going to get it first as easily. And we know from vaccine data that number starts at 90% protection from infection. And that does wane to maybe in the 50% range by 6 months. But even at 50%, you're still 50% less likely to get infected than somebody that's unvaccinated. So I hope this sort of puts that into context for people that are really clinging to this idea that you're just as likely to get infected and transmit if you're vaccinated, because it's absolutely not true. And hopefully there's going to be more data will come out that will make that a little bit easier for people to see and understand. Latest COVID news, of course, on the 19th, we had the booster eligible for all adults. I don't know if you guys saw, but we've got 2 oral antivirals now. Merck's made one and Pfizer has made one, and wonderful results. And this is, once people are infected, you give them this oral medicine. It's not a shot. It's not an IV. It's a lot cheaper than the monoclonals, and wonderful results. I mean, really fantastic. So this is great stuff coming down. And, maybe if you combine them together, the mechanism of action is very similar to actually HIV drugs, which, we use together in cocktails. So if you combine these two, maybe they're going to be even better. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to use these in vaccinated people. They only tested this in unvaccinated people. So I think that the EUA, whenever these are finally approved, will only be for unvaccinated. Costs for treatment, I wanted to add I added the costs for hospitalizations here. So if you look at states, it varies, but anywhere for a non-complex hospitalization, you're going to spend at least $30,000 on their health care, and up to $100,000 in some states. And for a complex hospitalization or stay, $300,000 to $400,000. So again, the cost to treat somebody, and then most of them, again, your higher chance of hospitalization if you're unvaccinated, of course, but versus the cost of vaccines, versus the cost of the monoclonal antibodies, getting to thousands here. And hopefully, this, I don't know if, I think we mentioned this last time, this is another repurposed SSRI antidepressant drug, which is found to be pretty darn effective to prevent hospitalization as well, and much, much cheaper. So it's not that people aren't looking at cheaper ways to do this. And we looked at steroids, we know they help, and we know this is another potential option for us here too. But we want to find cheap and easy ways that if people are just totally dead set against vaccinated, at least we have a way to try to treat them. The booster data is showing us just a tremendous increase in efficacy when you're boosted. I mean, you get to higher levels than you had at the beginning of your second vaccination. So we're hoping this means, and which we don't know for sure yet, we're all admitting we don't know for sure yet how long this booster is going to last us, and how high the efficacy is going to be and for how long. But there is good reason to believe it's going to be at least 6 months, hopefully a year. And some of the folks I trust and follow say maybe it means 2 years, and that would be wonderful. I think I hope people are prepared for that and can come to terms with that this is going to be something that we're probably going to have to get boosters for the rest of our lives, like we do for the flu, and it will be just commonplace at some point. But thankfully, so far the data in Israel, which I think they've got people 3 to 4 months out from their booster now, so it is still reassuring that things are not waning that much. So the good news in Guam, we're no longer at this high Delta plateau. Our hospitalizations now per day we're getting close to the number 10, which is just fantastic. Only one person in the ICU. That's just wonderful news for Guam. Unfortunately, it did come at a pretty high cost with the number of deaths we had, and we've got just extremely high vaccination rates. So, giving Guam a report card here at the end of the Delta surge. Vaccinations, we have an A. We did a really poor job of testing, tracing, isolating, and especially contact tracing. But I don't know how much of that is something that would have made a big impact in the long run. But now that our numbers are low, I think that any future cases that we have, if we really put a lot more effort into contact tracing, I think potentially we could prevent another surge by being a lot more aggressive in that arena. Our NPIs, I think, if you talk to anybody who's come to Guam from the States, and they're just, it's amazing how well we mask here in public. And compared to vaccinations, I think it's a drop in the bucket compared to getting more people vaccinated. The amount of infections that we prevent with masking and some of these other NPIs are pretty small, but it's still nice to see. And I do think that it has made a difference. I think things would have been worse if we didn't have as many people masking outside. But and people take their masks off when they go to bars and stuff. Maybe that makes it irrelevant. But the deaths during the Delta wave, that we didn't do too well there compared to the rest of the states. But again, it could have been worse. So we don't have a failing grade there. But and overall total deaths, as I showed, we're still in the bottom 10 of states, which isn't that bad. Take home points for today is the last slide. Sorry for boring you guys here, but I want to just hammer home, same as Dr. Kovalevsky, the higher percent of our population vaccinated will have less transmission and less deaths, not just less deaths, less transmission. So again, encourage everybody to be part of the solution. And we know that 80,000 who have fully vaxxed are already ready and eligible for their second dose. Please, if you're over 6 months from your last dose, please get a booster as soon as possible. We don't know how fast it will wane, but we're hoping it'll be 1 or 2 years. There's still no significant concerns for safety issues after billions of doses have been given in adults in the world, and millions now in children. So I hope that gives some people confidence. This is so many anti-vax sentiments talk about it being experimental, and I think I don't know how long is going to be long enough before people feel a little bit more comfortable with that. You're not just as likely to contract and transmit COVID if you're vaccinated, and I think it's safe to say the Delta wave is essentially over here. I think it is. I think it's very reasonable to relax some restrictions and mandates that probably didn't have much to do with us getting out of this Delta wave anyways.
And you're not the first person to say that, like in your line of work too.
Right. And, there will be another wave, another start of a surge. We don't know when that's going to happen. I think I just reading this morning, there's a new variant of concern called NU. It's a little early to say how dangerous this might be, but it's been found in South Africa and I think Hong Kong. So it's something to keep your ear to the ground on, but I don't think it's reason to panic right now. But the virus is going to continue to change, and we have to hope that it doesn't change in a way that is significantly makes things harder for us in the future. But it could. Again, I think to help prepare for the next wave, just to maybe bolster our contact tracing efforts, and also I really think a cheap home testing is important to identify people that are symptomatic. To be able to do that at $1 a pop, I think is going to be pretty valuable for a lot of people. So that's it. Sorry to throw 20 or so slides at you, but that's pretty much a wrap for the Delta and Guam, I think.
No, very, very, very comprehensive stuff, Doc. We appreciate you breaking it down, and I know a lot of people are going to go through the major takeaways, and they're going to say, okay, I know we're doing all right, but like you said, and right off the top, you said by no means should we let our guard down, completely. There are going to be more surges to come in the future and everything, but as for this current one and everything like that, we're doing all right.
Yep.
Yeah, and relative to the rest of the world, we're actually doing quite good.
We are, especially with regards to vaccinations. You want to be above 80% right now if you can, and we're already there. And we're going to be vaccinating more of our kids. We're going to be boosting more people, and I think it is a stretch to say we're going to reach a whole lot more of the unvaccinated at this point. If they don't want to, they're just not going to do it. I wish there was a way to reach them and help them understand, but I don't know. They believe that the way that they are interpreting the data is the correct way, and it's hard for me to understand. But I can get why they're looking at it that way. But I think a lot of it just stems from fear of the unknown. And the unknown is, what if this vaccine causes some other problems that we just don't know about? And that, it's just taking what we do know and making a risk assessment and say, do the benefits outweigh the risks at this time? And we believe that was the case, when the vaccines first came out, that the risks were sufficiently low enough that the benefits of saving lives. I mean, I don't know how many lives saved would make it reasonable to people that are still unvaccinated to say, okay, it was worth it. If we could have saved, hypothetical, if we could have saved 80 to 100 lives, if everybody was vaccinated, would that be worth it to you to get vaccinated? I mean, we wouldn't have. There still would have been people that died that were vaccinated, but we still potentially could have saved that many lives in the last 3 months. I mean,
and that truly would have been the major breakthrough. I mean, people talk about breakthrough cases. That would have been the overall breakthrough. But
yeah.
So we appreciate your insight and your expertise, Doc, as always. And we want to extend our heartfelt thanks to you, and as well our happy holidays to you and your family and your staff. We'd love to have you back, and let's catch up again before December 12th, because as I understand it, on that particular day, there's a certain football game between two of the U.S. military academies that you're probably going to be watching with great affection.
That's right. I'll have my blue and gold shirt on.
Well, Navy is the home team this year.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you giving me some time this morning.
Absolutely.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Anytime, man. Happy holidays.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
And just a reminder that the Guam Emergency Rental Assistance Program, they are currently accepting tenant applications. You can go to www.doa.guam.gov to complete the online tenant pre-qualification application web form or download a PDF form. Applications are also available at the ERA office. For more information about the ERA program, which is being administered by the Guam Department of Administration, you can email era@doa.guam.gov. You can also call 671-638-4518, 671-638-4518, or 4519. The ERA program, it is for those of you who have been financially impacted by the pandemic. That's if you need help with rent, utilities, or arrears with either. They're also taking care of internet service, moving expenses. And this is for if you were impacted by COVID dating back to March 3rd of 2020. Now, if you have questions as to whether, I didn't qualify when I applied the previous times, you are encouraged to apply again, especially if your financial status may have changed within that time frame. Again, the number to call is 671-638-4518 or 4519. You won't be able to call today because it is the Government of Guam holiday and the Department of Administration is closed. So you can call on Monday, but you certainly can email, and that is era@doa.guam.gov.
Okay, we got some more stuff to give away. It is the season of giving, and we want to give you a wonderful day. Black Friday here on the link. And all you got to do is call us up and let us know who you can count on during tough times and as well as good times. And of course, Calvo's Insurance is celebrating the people we can count on in life. They're kicking off the holidays by giving away exciting weekly prizes, and that's what we're doing right now, and grand prizes. Please just give us a call, 671, pardon me, I can't even get that right, 671-637-0094. If I did that right now, I would hear that lovely voice telling me I got to dial the 671. And just tell us who you can count on in good times and bad, because our next prize, and we're giving away a ton of these things today, our third prize so far this morning is a gift certificate to none other than the Hilton Guam Resort and Spa. Hang out on beautiful Tumon Bay, my home away from home, and $25 of gas from our friends at Shell to help get you down to Tumon, regardless of where you're coming from. You may be on SDA Road, you may be down in Humatak, you may be up in Jigo and everything. We'll get you there. Shell will get you there. And then you can enjoy the wonderful facilities and accoutrement, as they say, of the Hilton.
Right, that number is 671-637-0094, 671-637-0094. And all you got to do is you just got to tell us who can you count on in good and challenging times, and then tell us how you were able to count on this person. Earlier, we heard from Stefan, who said that he counts on his wife. They just adopted a baby.
And then Vince said he counts on his 5 wonderful girls.
Right. All right. And let's go to the phone line. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Half a day. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Ernie.
Hi, Ernie. So who can you count on in good and challenging times? And tell us how you were able to count on that person.
My older brother, his name is Roki.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2 years ago I lost my mom, my brother. And same day I lost my mom, I got sick. I went into the hospital with a 2,000 sugar level. And since then, had ups and downs of our area we're living in. We lost our house to my stepfather's family. They took the house away from us, so it's under probate. So my brother stepped in and said for me to live with him because we had nowhere to go. So since then, he's been taking care of me and takes me to my appointments, and he just basically just cares for me. And I'm of age, 58, and he's almost 60, and he's just been taking care of me since then.
As a brother should.
Right. What's his name?
His name is Roki.
Oh, Roki. That's right.
Yeah, look at Abbott Construction, Abbott Trucking.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ernie, as they say, a brother's love is a brother's love, and that's forever, man.
That is forever, and on top of that, I with my sickness, diabetes, I had my toes amputated, both feet, 2 on the right and 1 on the left, and he's been constantly having his grandkids come down and check on Uncle Ernie, and I love that, and it's just he's been there since then, even though he's got some tough love, but he's been the one that's been there for me, and his wife, also Rosie. I like to nominate him because I can depend on him whenever I need anything. I'm back to work, though. I'm out of the insulin care. I'm under the metformin pills now, so I'm able to get my medical certificate to start driving again.
Well, you keep that up, Ernie.
Yeah, Ernie, God bless you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on and sharing your story with us, and we are very, very proud and honored to be able to give you these wonderful gift certificates from Shell and from the Hilton once again.
Thank you very much.
Right. Please hold on the line, okay, Ernie?
Yes.
Okay, hold on the line, and Vic will get your information.
Thank you.
All right. Happy holidays.
Congratulations, Ernie.
Thank you, sir.
And again, we are giving away a couple more, or one more gift certificate in a little bit. So far, we had Stefan, Vince, and as you just heard, Ernie's very heartfelt story. Aside from the prizes that you're getting on from right here on 93.9 The Breeze, you can also go to Calvos.com. They do have wonderful grand prizes for the person that you can count on. And as the nominator, you can also win great prizes. Again, that's Calvos.com. They have some grand prize 1. It is a family staycation for the person that you can count on. That's 2 2-night stays for a family of 4 at the Loti Hotel. And then the person who nominated the individual, they get $300 worth of Lone Star gift certificates. There's a grand prize 2 and a grand prize 3. They are also $1,000 Payless shopping spree for the person that you can count on. And then for the person that nominates the individual, they get $250 in Payless gift certificates and $250 of Shell gas certificates. So again, go to Calvos.com and nominate your who you can count on and enter for a chance to win those great prizes. And continue to listen right here to 93.9. We're giving away one more prize, and then next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're giving away more great prizes as part of the Calvos Count on Us for Life giveaway. Stay tuned. The link continues after the break.
Make it
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. Got a question about your finances? You've come to the right place. Bring all your accounts together, even those that aren't with us. and see the big picture, right down to the smallest detail. Unlock powerful tools like Insights and Money Map that help you save time and take control of your finances. When you connect accounts with the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, it all starts with yes.
Hafa This is Governor Lou Leon Guerrero. If you're struggling to pay rent and utilities because of the pandemic, your government can help. Our Emergency Rental Assistance Program provides direct relief to you. To date, over $6.9 million has helped over 1,500 households.
Apply online at eoa.guam.gov or call the Department of Administration's Emergency Rental Assistance Program at 671-638-4518 or 19.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore. Stop on by and visit our showroom today. We offer everyday low prices on all major outdoor power equipment like bush cutter, chainsaw, power washer, generators, and more. Need service, repair, maintenance? Well, check out Guam's best superstore only at Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape, located in Barragata along Army Drive between Submarina and Besta Market. Call 735-7446 for more information. Now shipping to surrounding islands. Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore.
Do you feel like you're missing out on something? Make life more rewarding with Pacific Points. Earn and redeem points for bill rebates and free load at IT&E, discounts on fuel at Shell, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. You can even pay with Pacific Points at IT&E, Shell, and Foodies. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage. With generations of Filipinos calling Guam home, KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city, featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by KFC.
Going to get into the news. A staff officer with the Guam Police Department is under investigation. According to a media release, GPD's internal affairs investigation opened an administrative investigation for alleged misconduct that occurred during the late night hours on November 11th in the Sagan Ipapao neighborhood in Dededo. The press release stating patrol officers responded to the neighborhood for a reported suspicious vehicle and soon after their arrival met with the reporting person, witnesses, and the alleged suspicious vehicle. Because of the sensitivity of the information surrounding the investigation and over the protection of due process rights for all parties involved, more specific details concerning the incident and the investigation cannot be released at the time. Chief of Police Steve Ignacio has also coordinated with the AG's office to conduct a criminal investigation into the matter. The Port Authority Board of Directors passed a resolution that gives General Manager Rory Respicio the authority to take any and all administrative and or criminal actions necessary regarding alleged illegal retroactive salary adjustments of former Port GM Senator Joanne Brown. The resolution follows an AG opinion issued in a question involving retroactive pay raises at Gura, following a review by the Port's legal counsel into the board's past actions related to the former general manager. The Port determined that about pay adjustments for Brown contained illegal retroactive payments worth thousands of dollars. The board needed 3 votes to pass. Voting in favor were members Dot Harris, Nate Timinglo, and Chairperson Francisco Santos. Director Isa Koki abstained from voting. Aside from Brown's case, the Port was also instructed to look into any other retroactive pay raises that may have been given to the former port management from December 2012 through December 2018, and also seeks any and all administrative or criminal actions. In an interview with KUAM last week about the pending resolution, the senator called it retribution, adding the port is coming after her, but it's not going to stop her from speaking out about what she thinks is wrong in the government. The Joint Information Center reports 11 people are now hospitalized for COVID, 1 patient receiving ICU level of care and 1 on a ventilator. Out of the 11 hospitalizations, 4 are vaccinated, 7 unvaccinated. Since Wednesday, there have been a total of 29 new cases out of 1,196 tests performed. Additional results will be reported on Monday. To date, there have been a total of 19,146 officially reported cases, 263 deaths, 1,723 cases are in isolation, and 17,160 people have recovered. The CAR score is 1.3. Public Health also reported that it received 65 new results from virus samples collected on Guam between August 10th to September 30th, which underwent genome sequencing by the CDC. 2 were identified as variants being monitored. 63 were identified as the Delta variant of concern. Out of the total 319 virus samples sent to the CDC to date, 172 COVID cases were infected with variants. Additionally, the governor signed another executive order extending her declaration of a public health emergency for Guam until December 30th. In the CNMI, Wednesday, they reported that there have been 77 new cases out of 1,257 tests performed. There are now 251 active cases and 3 hospitalizations. There have been 358 new cases since October 28th. The total case count in the CNMI since March of last year is now 649. With more news, here's Jason.
This news update is brought to you by Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
The Manila organization is a nonprofit organization on Guam aiming to empower children and families through an array of programs. And recently, a group of special young people got to partake of some really fun activities. Jonah Gonchafres has more.
Recently, a group from the Anderson Fire Department made their way down south to Pagacao and Hoggett to take part in one-on-one mentorship after school with a handful of children ages 5 to 11. Overseeing the activity, firefighter Andrew Kim says the opportunity was made possible by the Manetlu organization, which is formerly the Big Brothers Big Sisters of Guam.
About, I'll say, half a month ago, we coordinated with the organization to help the kids out. And we're looking to do more organizations and volunteer activities in the future. We wanted to do something with kids because it's a very big thing for the whole purpose of a fire department is a service to the community and just to step in, especially with kids, and help kind of mentor them with anything from life or just basic issues. It's a great privilege.
Kim says because of their work schedule, it's rare that his team is able to take part in off-base community outreach and events. But when everything aligned for 7 of the firefighters, they were ready and willing to brighten up the day of some kids.
We helped with arts and crafts. We helped introduce our firefighting gear and the rest of the people in our department to show them some firefighting safety tips. We helped decorate Christmas drop boxes. Some tags, everything was Christmas themed.
He says members from the crew were delighted as a few slowly opened up to them, allowing them to connect with the kids. They look forward to doing more activities such as this. In closing, Kim said,
Just help the community out in any way possible, especially if you have free time, because we do work 2 days on, 2 days off, so we do get more free time than others. And I encourage everybody, military or civilians, just dedicate some of your time. It's a great feeling, it's very fulfilling.
If you would like to find out how you can volunteer your time with mentoring, or if you would like more information on how to assist with any of Manetlu's programs, visit manetlu.org or find them on Facebook. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Jonah Gonchafres.
All right, thanks so much, Joe. And in other news, island residents have one more thing to be grateful on this Thanksgiving weekend. Cheaper gas prices, as prices at the pumps of Shell, Circle K 76, and Mobil stations dipped from $4.99 to $4.88, according to their billboards. A little over a week ago on November 15th, gas prices dropped from $5.99 to $4.99. This is actually the fourth time gas prices have decreased since May of this year. And because it is the Thanksgiving weekend, our Tomas Manglona continues his 6 Feet Apart, 6 Feet Under series, introducing you to Savi Diaz, a woman who lost her father, Roy Anthony Muña, to COVID-19. And she reminds us of what her father told her, that God and family are always essential.
There are cherished memories for a lifetime, even with a life taken too soon.
What he imparted with us was that the most important thing is to remember what's most important, and that's God and then family. And so, with that being said, he was always around. He was very present in my sister and I's life. He actually passed away the day before my mom and dad's 36th wedding anniversary.
Savi Diaz will always feel her dad, Roy Anthony Muña's presence, one filled with immense love.
Him and my mom, they started an appraisal company, and from there they did real estate, and they always had their office in the home. And so it was cool just watching them work together, do everything together. And they had a very good relationship with each other, and I think that really set an example from my marriage and for my sister's marriage. What love looks like.
A hopeful, persevering love that daily reports can never capture. Her father passed away last November, Guam's 82nd COVID-19 related death.
It was a very surreal experience because, you're just trying to support your loved one from afar, and
At least 263 other families on Guam are familiar with the gravity of this grief.
His experience was really tough. He had a lot of moments where he called us and he was struggling, not being able to breathe is terrifying. You try and hold your breath for a little bit to imagine, right? Just breathing very, taking small breaths.
Virtual rosaries took place of in-person ones before her entire family could share the same breath to lay him to rest.
It may have been different if I had been able to be by his side, so that would have been made it much easier. It would have been easier to get over, or not get over, but to heal from. And, and just knowing how hard it is on people not being able to breathe and being scared by themselves. So I think when I see those numbers, I really just feel for the families as well.
That empathy turned into a mission. She launched the Roy Anthony Muña Project.
In the last hours of his death, and as hard as it was for him to talk, he did say that the doctors and the nurses did a great job. And I know he wanted us to know that because it was hard for us knowing that we weren't able to be there. And so I took that as he wants us to move forward and be positive and to not dwell on the hardship that he went through. And so that's why we were inspired to do this.
It provides communication boards for patients to use to talk with loved ones easier. It's already giving voice to people in the States, Guam and Saipan.
It's something positive, and we want to help other patients that are going through the same thing.
Tomas Manglona for KUAM News.
Let's get back now to the link.
This news update is brought to you by Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
Thanks, Jason. Here's your sports link now with Dave Delgado.
Sports Link is brought to you by Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape.
Ali Adder, one of the team captains from the Dartmouth women's rugby team. Congratulations on winning the national championship over Army this season.
We knew from our first time playing with them that Army is obviously a very physical. Yeah, so we did that, and mentally we were just going in to every practice and every game, giving it our 100% and thinking about the outcome that we wanted for the game.
Well, winning the national championship 28-18 over Army, Talk about the team effort and what it took for you guys to pull off that victory.
2018, actually, we played Army in the semifinals, and then we played Harvard in the final. So that one took a lot of effort, most especially because it was during a snowstorm. So we all kind of had to work together and play as best as we could and as together as we could so that we could pull off that win. And then for this game against Army, we actually were expecting Harvard to go into the final, but Army pulled off the win against them in their semifinals. So like I said, in preparation, we just wanted to make sure that we were focusing on our game and focusing on the skills that we know that we are good at and can excel at. Something that one of the parents said, and it is true, Army is a tough team. They're a tough team physically, and but we are a dangerous team. We're a dangerous team when all our skills and all our talents are put together and we're out there playing our own game of rugby.
Well, looking back at your college career, winning a national championship your freshman season, and then winning again your senior season, looking back at your time there at Dartmouth, what are you going to remember most as you do wrap up your senior year there?
I said this before. I'm going to remember just the countless numbers of days of blood, sweat, and tears that we've worked into preparing for this final national championship, especially with losing our junior year season and seventh season. We really honed in on our craft and, you know, really trying to master our craft so that we can have the outcome that we did this past weekend. Just all the hard work and preparation that we did leading up to Saturday.
You know, that freshman class that you were a part of, and when a program builds around the incoming freshmen, talking to some of your fellow teammates about the 4 years there, what has that been like, just looking back at it?
Going in as freshmen, we all, like my freshman class that I went in with, we were a very talented class. I would say confidently that we had a very talented class. We had people from all different backgrounds, and you know, we went in and we all started and we all made contributions to the team that obviously have grown so much and have made it into what this program is today. And it just keeps building and building, and to know that we're leaving some kind of legacy for others below us to build upon and build off of, we always talk about how much of an amazing and surreal feeling it is.
UOG baseball coach Roque Alcantara Jr. here to talk about the trials for the UOG baseball team being held December 4th and 5th from 9 to 12 in the afternoon at the George Washington High School baseball field. Proof of vaccination and COVID-19 protocols in effect.
Get the drills going, get some fundamentals going. We want to see the talent that comes out, and we just really want to see a good number showing so that we can get the program started. We don't have a structure just yet, but we're working on that, and we have a few verbal confirmed players right now that are ready to come out. I'm doing a campaign with all the high schools just to see if their seniors want to come out and just work out with us, you know, join us with the program, and hopefully, you know, get them enrolled too for fall semester 2022.
Talk about maybe some of the coaches that are going to be helping you out with the program there.
My teammates from the national team, we got Dominic Cruz, who called me, showed some interest. He wants to give back. We have Ken Fernandez, who is an alumni of UOG. Also, Paul Pangilinan as well, one of the best lefty pitchers on the island. I'm reaching out to all my other teammates out there to want to come out and just give back. It's been about 18 years since we had our last UOG Tritons baseball team.
Building this program from the ground up with, you know, local coaches, bringing in local talent, it allows the university to keep our kids here on island and allowing them to continue playing baseball at the collegiate level.
Keep these kids here and get that education that you know, they don't have to go off island for. Get that education here, and you know, play ball for the university, representing, you know, our Triton pride, representing the island, and then further on down the road, join that national program, go out there and represent our island, and compete in an international competition. That's a big thing, is losing local talent to off-island schools, and then later on down the road, we don't even have them in the national program to represent our island.
SportsLink is brought to you by Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape.
And we've got a new episode of the One Micronesia podcast dropping tonight on primetime. Vic, what do you have for us?
I talked with Ponape Chikis. She's a charcoal artist. She's out in Hawaii. She's doing really good. Her art has definitely bloomed, and a lot of people are really seeing and requesting for all her charcoal.